Hello friends! In this video I am going to do a review of my beloved Sharpie Stained Brush Markers. If you've been here for a while, you probably already know how I feel about these markers, but I don't know that I've ever done an actual review, but now is the time. In my opinion, this brush pen is a great in-between size. It's super juicy and bouncy, and part of the reason for that I think is because it's actually a fabric marker. I'm also holding it up with a Tombow dual brush pen since that's a familiar one that will hopefully be a good comparison for many of you. I don't think that the Sharpie Stain is much like a Tombow, this is just for comparison purposes. So this brush pen was created to write or color on fabric, I think, and you can see on the inside of the pen that there is liquid right inside of the pen. One of the reasons that I love the Sharpie Stained is because in my experience it lasts so long. Now I'm not a Sharpie expert, but I'm going to guess that one of the reasons why the tip of this brush pen is so long lasting is because of the pen being created for fabric. If you're going to color on a t-shirt, then you probably need a brush tip that's not going to fall apart on you, and this thing is sturdy. It's also super bouncy, but it takes a lot for it to fray. I'm not sure that I've ever had a Sharpie Stained brush pen fray on me before, at least not that I can remember off the top of my head, but I have had one run out of ink, and that is saying a lot. Sometimes people ask me why I don't always store my brush pens horizontally, and my response is usually something like, well, usually my brush pens fray long before the ink ever runs dry, so I just haven't had to worry about that. But not with these. They have a lot of ink coming out of them, they're super bouncy, and they last a long time, and that combination can be really hard to find in one brush pen. I personally push down pretty hard when I'm lettering with this brush pen, and as you can see, it is still bouncing right back up with some very thin upstrokes. But they are not perfect, so let me tell you a couple of the downsides. First of all, they take a really long time to dry. This doesn't really bother me because I'm right-handed, but you lefties may be waiting a really long time in between letters because these are very juicy. Again, I'm sure that's because these were intended to be fabric markers, so you need a lot of ink on them. But regardless, it is something to mention because I don't want to gloss over the negatives just because I love these things so much. The other thing that's a downside to me is the colors. I would love a big variety of colors, but I'd even be super excited about a pack of just black pens. But currently I'm only able to find these in an affordable price in the pack with all of the colors. So within these colors, there are a couple that are almost like a neon highlighter type of color, which really isn't great for a lot of hand lettering because it can be really hard to read. I also think that I'm missing a color out of the swatches because I did a giveaway on Instagram and gave away a bunch of my Sharpie Stained, and I think there might be a yellow in this pack that I don't have, but I will leave a link below for where I buy these and you can see all of the colors there. Honestly, the orange and pink are almost hard to even look at because they are just so bright. I'm sure this is super fun when making t-shirts though, so it's not necessarily a negative thing to this marker. I would just love to see them come out with some more colors, or at least just offer the option for me to buy a big pack of the black pens without having to get all the colors. So with the blending test, you will see a little bit of blending, but not much. It's more of a streaky look. The water test shows that they are pretty water resistant. The red and blue don't look quite perfect, but when I did the red, I think that my water brush had a little bit of black on it still from another time I used it. And when I did the blue, it was still a bit wet. So I'm pretty sure that's the reason for the bit of color you see. Otherwise, they all held up really well. Overall, I think it's clear that I really do love these brush pens. Again, they're not perfect, but I just really like lettering with these. They are one that I grab quite often, and just how long they've held up is a huge plus in my book. If you want some more free hand lettering tips, I'm going to leave a blog post that I think might be helpful for you, and I will leave that in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.